Welcome to the Party Hot Summer Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name's Tyler Janin. I'm here with my co-host, Dallas Leduc. I need to apologize to all our loyal fans and listeners. We have not had an episode up for almost 2 months now. So Dallas and I, we just recently finished harvest. We are very glad to be back. I've been done for a few weeks now. Dallas just finished, so I had to beg him pretty hard to come on and do this. He's exhausted, is what he's been telling me. But I said, Dallas, we got to get a podcast out.
I know. It's just, when you finished harvest there, I talked to you the one day and you said, I woke you up, you were napping on the couch. You were just done. But I was still geared up. We still had quite a few acres to go and I was still pushing hard. And then I know exactly how you felt. We got finished and then you've pushed against that wall for us 73 days straight. And when I finally could fall through that wall and come out the other side, I was flat out. I didn't want to do nothing for a couple of days. We're back at her here at the farm, and then all of a sudden the next stress level jumps right back up. Oh, man, look at all the fall work we need to get done. And it's not the beginning of September. It's the middle of October, and now we got to start our fall work.
No, we're getting down to the wrong side of the calendar now here for fall work. Like any day now, that ground, it's going to turn into a rock.
Rock, we already had down south in my southern stuff there. There was probably 4 or 5 inches of snow down there. It's 4-wheel drive country down there till that melts off. So, which is good. That's going to melt off, go into the ground and be some moisture. Now that's what my dirt needs.
Yeah, well, moisture for next year. It's not going to do you much good right now, but at least it's there for next year. It's a start.
Because it's unbelievable what we found out this year. Without moisture, you can't grow nothing. If you had one little slough, water ran down a hill and puddle up at the bottom, that crop down there was great. The rest of the stuff was pretty well garbage.
So how was your crop this year? You did go out on your TikTok and talk a lot about how poor your crop was. Is that just for camera magic or storytelling, or is your crop actually that bad?
To begin with there, at the end of June, our crop was heading towards the zero. At June, 20-something, we had crop written off because they come out, they did the yield estimate at 3, write her off, I sprayed it out, which seems wrong to spray out a crop in June, but that crop was going to do nothing but try to grow stools and didn't have any healthy heads. It was going to be nothing. But no, I'm pretty honest on my TikTok channel. I kind of say it the way it is. That stuff we sprayed out obviously did nothing, didn't harvest it. Winter wheat we sprayed out. They said it was going to do 6. We sprayed it out. Mustard made 8. That's kind of, I was hoping for 10 or more, but 8. And that last 1,850 acres, last seeded durum we had, high elevation land, it's different. If you follow my TikTok channel, I try to explain that more, that chunk of the farm is so much different. You come from the farm to there is 700 feet up. It's cooler. It freezes earlier. It snows earlier. Heck, it's still white down there now. And we just finished down there and legitimately across that 1,850 acres, exactly a 40 average, and only 6 or 7 miles away, but off that high bench, off that high ridge, crop written off. It's unreal.
It is unreal how much that changes in Dallas. A lot of people don't realize this. You and I actually live nowhere close to each other. We're about 3.5 hours apart. You're in the southwest of Saskatchewan. I'm in the southeast. The southeast corner, everybody around here probably pulled off one of the best crops there's been in over 50 years. In just a little area that my family farm is in, we missed a lot of the rains. We weren't dry by any means. We were on the dry side, but nothing comparison to you. But I think what had a lot to do with it is we had a below average temperature this year. It was a cooler year. Like, we didn't see many days above 23 degrees.
And that is amazing. Like, just the cooler temperatures you guys had, you guys were probably smoked in like we were, but we still had heat. But we weren't crazy for heat, but we were so dry leading into it from the previous 12 months of June of 24 to June of 25, including snow. We probably had right around that 2 inches of measurable moisture. That's it. That's all for 12 months. at the end of June, beginning of July, into August, then we probably got another 3.5 to 5 to 7 inches of rain, depends on where on the farm you are. But that rain comes so late, it wasn't beneficial for the mustard, and it wasn't beneficial for the peas. It did help the lentils out, and it helped that very late durum. But so it's just shrinking down my crop insurance check. But, I don't farm for crop insurance. The last thing we do in the spring is go put the seed in the ground thinking, oh, this will pay good in crop insurance. I want a crop. All farmers want that crop. I want to fill the bins. I want to fill bags. I want to make a pile on the ground. This year we managed to fill the bins, but that's because we've been sitting on some old grain.
Yeah, no, this year is the first year in a lot of years in this area I've seen piles on the ground. A lot of guys, they have enough bin space, but with this year, with the excess of product, I've seen piles on the ground. I've seen more bags than I've ever seen, but all this yield is great and whatnot, but it's still just going to turn out to an average year for us because of what the commodity prices are at right now. Canola's in the toilet. Wheat is under $7, which is just a joke. Like, for you that doesn't have a crop, that's got to bite even more.
I'm used to growing up in this part. My family's been farming here since 1928. We're almost 100 years. So I know that we're going to miss more crops for sure than you are. It's a double whammy. When you miss the crop and now you've got 30-year-old prices and 2025 inputs, that's going to sting. And that's part of the reason maybe you're seeing so much grain on the ground and in the bags. Guys are only selling the bare minimum because, if you rally $1 or $2 a bushel across our sizes of farms, that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars difference. And I don't want to go.
Well, that's millions of bushels.
Yep. I'd love to go back to $22 durum, but that's not realistic. That's way too high. The solution to high prices is high prices, and that's gone. But I wasn't thinking we're going to go back to 1995 prices of $7 a bushel for durum. I really thought our prices would stay between that 12 to 15 range, depends on grade and quality. Then we can make a good living. Durum is our primary crop. Boy, durum is under $8. And if you had a 3 or 4, you're down into the 6s. So, we probably have, I haven't done the math yet, we probably have a high teens, maybe in the 20s average. But $7, that's $140 an acre. That means we're only losing $100 an acre. We're going backwards hardcore.
It's not fun going backwards, that's for sure. I've talked about it here on before. My first year farming, I rented some crown land, paid way too much an acre rent on it because of how anybody knows how anything works in government. Didn't get my paperwork back in time to apply for crop insurance, and then it rained 20 inches on swath crop. I didn't get a bushel of it. I worked it into the ground and then bought the land at way too much money. But looking back now, it wasn't a whole lot of money with what land prices have done. So I kind of know what it's like. My drop in the bucket compared to your drop in the bucket is a lot different, Dallas, but I can kind of get an idea where you're coming from with this.
You get a big idea. If you have the plow under a crop that was there, and now you can't, it's gone. It's nothing. It's garbage plowed under. Exactly. It's just, this happens. But our farm is, it's an older farm. We've been around for quite a few generations. My dad has always taught me to not overspend and, bear with what we have. So we can stomach this for another year. We can weather this storm. I know I get asked that all the time on my TikTok channel. How can you guys survive? Well, we're not overly stressed financially. My combines are old and pretty wore out, but we don't owe nothing on them. We try to keep our expenses low, paid for equipment, paid for land. That's really beneficial because then it helps offset the price of when you do buy some more land or newer machinery that you're not mortgaged. Not every piece of machinery on the farm has a mortgage tied to it. Only a limited number to, under 10 pieces of machinery on our farm have a mortgage tied to them. So there's a lot of paid for iron running around. So that's cutting down our expenses, and we're only 2 years into crop insurance. We weren't a crop insurance farm. We only got into that when all of a sudden the numbers weren't jiving on turning a profit.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, right? It is awesome to have paid for equipment. That helps substantially. And unfortunately, all the land that I own with my family, I still owe money on it. So I'm not making that big bucks off it right now that everybody claims us farmers make, but there's not a whole big chunk of the pie left after I make a few machinery payments and land payments and all my inputs, even at growing a crop. So hopefully these commodity prices do go up a little bit and our input prices can just level off, because everybody says, oh, we need the $22 canola back. Honestly, that $22 a bushel canola was probably the worst thing that could ever happen, because fertilizer went through the roof, all the chemicals went through the roof, and they really have not backed off to where they were before that.
Yeah, when them weird COVID pricings, mustard was $1.52 a pound. Ridiculous. At that price. I didn't have any, so didn't sell any. But now we're back to 40 cents a pound for yellow mustard. Well, that's early 2000s price. We're not early 2000s inputs, so that's gonna sting. We got to get, but I was thinking there, we've had some trade disputes. We don't get too political on here. We try not to, but trade disputes with other countries have really hurt our economic prices. I mean, you hear about all the time, China doesn't take our canola. Yep, that sucks. China also doesn't take any of our yellow peas. That's cost us since last year, this year, $4 a bushel. Across our farm, there's roughly maybe 50,000 bushels of yellow peas here. $4 a bushel is monumental amount of money that we're not getting. So if we sold now, but maybe they'll lift some trade barriers and some tariffs, we'll all get our little EV electric cars and we'll all be happier than two pigs and shit. And then, but if we can gain $4 a bushel across the peas, I'll drive an electric car.
Well, that's all it is, really. Isn't that all that's holding it up right now, is that there's a tariff on Chinese electric cars? Like, if that's the case, not like people don't have to buy them unless they want them. Like, I don't see what the big deal is.
I don't know how
they say they're trying to protect the auto industry in Canada. Well, we don't have much of one. It's all gone to other countries. Like, I understand there is one here, but my opinion is it's probably on its way out anyway.
And we tariffed an electric car we weren't importing. There's none of them here. No dealer network, no nothing. I mean, they did that because they invested billions of dollars into EV electric cars way out east. And they're trying to protect their asses with the government's investment in EVs, not knowing that China would just say, you're not taking our electric cars anyways, but we're going to whack you with these tariffs on this canola and peas and canola meal and some other stuff in there too. But man, if we could change that around, actually, I would think one of them little EVBDs or whatever the heck that little car is around the farm might be handy. I could run for parts, as long as I could make it to Assiniboine and back, I'd be good to go. We can cruise around the farm. We use like a golf cart to run the yard. You give me $4 more a peas, $4 more a bushel for peas, I'll gladly have one of them little electric cars.
Have you heard about when those electric cars catch fire, they will reignite up to 4 times days later? Like they're kind of scary when you think about it that way. If they've been in an accident or a fire.
Well, I'm not parking it in the garage. I know that. It gets its own charging station in the middle of the yard. I'm actually fire chief here. A few people know that. Yeah, I'm actually been the fire chief for, I think, 3 years now in RMA 44. And I read a bulletin out there about them electric cars. When it comes to them being on fire, you really can't put them out with water very easily. The thing I read is to haul in dirt, build a berm around the car, and then drown it. Like that's how their solution to putting out these electric car fires is to berm up the dirt around it, so it's a swimming pool, and then fill the pool. That's how you put them out.
I've heard the fire department's doing that, and they'll take it out, and a day later it'll light again after being submerged.
Well, there's
whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I believe it. There's a lot of energy in them batteries, even with the batteries dead. Like the metals, the acids, whatever's all in there will just keep igniting and burning for a long time. So
I don't know how that's better for the environment than like an old 350 with a burnt set of piston rings that burns a liter of oil every 2 tanks of fuel versus that electric vehicle, the minerals and resources they had to mine for it. I don't know which one's better for the environment. I don't know. I think I'm going to take the old 350 Chevy with the burnt piston rings.
The old 5.7, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, I mean, I can see in the southern states, the warmer climate, they're going to work okay. But up here, you need so much heat in that battery for the battery to work right. So the battery has heaters. They don't work in our winter. But I mean, if I had one of them EVBDs or whatever cruising around the farm all summer long, I'll tear the doors off, be like a go-kart. I would hop in. We're going to the bins. Everybody jump in the electric car. We would drive one. But I need $4 peas, and then I can $4 more on the peas, and I'll buy my electric car.
Anyway, shifting gears here, Dallas, how did harvest go for you? Did you have many mechanical failures, or was it just smooth sailing?
Well, yeah, just nothing. I run antique combines, and they never give any problems at all. Like, we didn't need any fans, no shaker shoes, nothing broke on the first day. Oh, okay, that's a lie. Everything broke on the first day and then kept breaking all the way to the end. It's just the headers, the MacDon headers work flawlessly, with the exception of some gearboxes, but I hope MacDon takes care of that. But my old New Hollands, and this isn't a knock against New Hollands, I think any combines, when they stretch my hours, they're going to have fan issues. They're going to have shaker shoe issues. They're going to have transmission issues. I mean, we don't hardly ever use the wheel brakes, but yet we brew up a brake line on one combine. They get up there in hours, and we haven't been upgrading them because we haven't been catching the crops. So we're running 3,000-4,000 hour plus New Holland combines, and they're showing it. Yeah, we ate 2 fans, 1 shaker shoe, 1 rim, 2 rims, 1 tire, bunch of belts, bearings, orbit motors, the usuals. But, we got her through. She's all in the bin. It was all done before the snow and rain came. I did get a demo of a pretty cool John Deere X9 that I was really happy that South Country brought me out to test run. There's a lot of nice technology in that X9. I'm not gonna insult that combine, especially I'm not gonna insult the dealership that brought it to me to give it a test run, because it didn't light on fire, it didn't throw over, it didn't crash in the hills, it didn't fall apart. It ran like a new combine should. So I thank South Country for that.
Combine should.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've done on my TikTok channel is, 2 of our combines showed up with like 500 hours on them. They were next to new when we got them. And we've ran them into everything we own is over 4,000 hours. So we've had to do a lot of learning on what's going to fall apart in these combines at that stage. I didn't know that the welds that hold the feeder house on are going to break and your feeder house is going to fall off. These things were basically new when we got them. But then whenever I find a flaw in these combines that shows up when they get older in age, I make a video up there. So, because we haven't fixed that combine yet, but it's going to be a day at least to pull the feeder house off, put everything back in place, weld it all back together, make it look right, make it fit right. So that's why I make these videos and say, hey, if you're running one of these, go look at that. Like, you don't want to do what I have to fix. If you're running one of these New Holland combines and your fan is got 2,000 or more separator hours, take it apart, change the bearings, change the holders. It's going to save you some grief, because when them fans explode, it just
awful sound.
Awful, and they're just destroyed. Like, not only are the vanes or are the paddles bent, or the vanes, whatever they call them, then the arms that hold the vanes get bent, the shaft bends, the bearing holders are screwed. All that louvered ducting in there just gets trashed.
Well, the worst part would be when you shut the thrasher down in a hurry and you get out to see what's going on. For a minute, it's sitting there going bing, bang, boom, pop. Well, it's all slowing down.
And the rotors have stopped. And that fan runs for another minute, and it's trashing itself as it's still running. It's like, this thing is the last thing that could. I guess they want to keep them sieves blowing clean. It's like, you shut her down and you just listen to it explode and keep exploding. But so that's why I've made them videos saying, hey, change the bearings, change the holders. That bearing might feel right, but then you get walking it back and forth on itself. It's like, it's got play, and it's going to sit there on that shaft, and it's going to vibrate. It's going to break the holder. And just because it's drawing air, it's going to suck the holder into that fan, and that's the end of the fan. As soon as that metal holder hits them blades, it's finished.
Well, if you feel like it, Dallas, you could open up a shop. You've gotten pretty good at wrenching on them CR New Holland combines. If I buy one, I might send it your way when it gets a few hours on it.
No,
you can go through it for me. You know what to look for. Now, my family, we've gotten pretty good with the CX series New Holland combines, but we've We've never owned a twin rotor New Holland combine.
The rotors don't give the grief. It's everything below the rotors, the shaker shoe and the fans. It's just when they get up there in hours, you know the longevity, the goodies out of them. They're going to show their age.
Yeah. Well, we have one combine on my family's farm here that it's getting up in the hours that your combines are, and it's starting to nickel and dime us too. It had its fair share of issues this year, and just the odd bearing here or there, or a belt going. So I kind of know what you're going. I'm fortunate that not all my combines are at that hours, but it's kind of one of them things. It's just been so good to you. We've had crops, but we've been investing the money elsewhere in the family farm, buying land. And as I've shown on my TikTok previously, when I was still posting regularly on TikTok, we built a new shop. So you don't want to stretch yourself thin because you don't know what you're going to get next year. Like, you might not get a crop. I've seen this farm be 70% hailed out before. We are in a little bit of a hail zone.
Well, and that's it. I mean, we've been taking that money that probably should have went into a combine, but there's 2 season now. They were brand new when they showed up, MacDon headers. Besides some gearbox issues that MacDon, if you're listening, please address these gearbox issues. So that money maybe should have went towards a combine. It went towards headers. We bought a second sprayer because the other sprayer was getting up there in hours. So instead of going for a combine, we have 2 sprayers. We lost the motor in a semi a year and a half ago. Well, that $50,000 maybe should have went towards a combine as a down payment. No, it went towards a new motor. So a lot of money that should have went to these combines went to other spots in the farm. But, we run 3 CR 9090s. We don't have to overly work all 3 of them to get us through the year. As long as we can keep 2 going, we're pretty happy. But we probably wrenched and fixed and repaired between taking them back and forth to the dealership. But Everassus on Assiniboia has been really, really good to us, helping us keep them going. If we don't wrench on them, they're wrenching on them. But we probably kept them 3 old combines going for probably less than a lease payment on 1 new one. So it's still cheaper, I guess, to run them 3 old pelters than one. We couldn't do this farm. You can't do acres with 1 combine. You need at least 2, and most of the time 3 to do our acres. So, we still kept them old girls going for less than the lease on 1 new one.
And that's huge. And with a lease, you got no equity in that. You own those combines. They're worth something still the way they sit. When you're done paying for them, you get them. Not like a lease. When the lease is up, it goes back and you're standing there with nothing and no equity.
Well, I'll let Combine World come up with the value of them combines when we're done with them, because that one I joked about it is that half the parts on this come from Combine World. I'm probably going to sell them all back to Combine World because, broke a hydraulic block a couple years ago. It come from Combine World. Hydraulic rams come from Combine World. Other parts, just the side shields, the sensors, Combine World. A big thanks to
Combine World is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We've gotten a few parts from Combine World over the years. Last year, I had to get a door for a combine because we had wind catch a door on a combine and break. There were no new ones in C&H's system. Combine World had one. And fortunately, it comes off a CR combine, has the same cab as a CX combine. So I got a door off a CR combine for it. And I'm not near the Saskatoon location, but I'm near the Brandon one. They shipped it overnight. I called them about noon on Thursday. Friday morning, the door was sitting in Brandon. And here just recently, because we pick swath, I had a top roller break on my it's a MacDon pickup header, actually. And none of the dealers around me had one. No wreckers had any. I got looking around. MacDon sells a jobber. They had one in Brandon, and it was half the price of what I could get a new one for. And I was able to send a guy with a truck and a trailer to Brandon and pick one up, and I had that combine running in 4 hours, where if I would have been down for 3 days.
Yeah. No, agriculture is not just about the guys and you and the farm. We need all this infrastructure around us to be ready and willing to have the parts, be able to get the parts, because when you're down, you're down. So all of a sudden your world turns upside down when you're looking for parts. So it's nice that
it really makes a guy wonder how many parts he should be carrying in his own inventory, how many parts you should be buying in advance. Like on my family's farm here, we carry a lot of the main belts, the combine can burn up from operator error are just, well, mainly operator error. If it's a wear item, we'll catch it when we do our pre-service before harvest. But anything that can be really damaged due to operator error, and I'm not talking down on any of my guys. My guys are awesome. I need to thank them all for helping us get harvest done. But everybody's human. Everybody's going to make a mistake at some point. I don't care who you are. It's going to happen. But we try to carry that. And how much of it do you really need to carry? Because that's starting to be a lot of money that you're investing. That's just, it's sitting there. It's not really gaining any value. But how much is your downtime worth to you?
Well, that's it. I mean, we carry pretty well. We try to carry every belt in the combine of the main use ones. I mean, some of them we never have changed, and some of them belts are well over 4,000 hour belts, and they're still fine. It's just they're not them wearable items. But some of the ones, the main feeder house ones, we carry. Obviously, we carry rotor belts. The chopper belts and rotor belts are the main ones you go through. With this light crop, we're pretty easy on chopper belts, though.
Yeah, the main one we do is a cylinder belt. Or we don't do too many feeder house ones, but then again, we're picking swath, so it's fairly easy on it. But yeah, cylinder belts and the odd chopper belt, maybe every 2 or 3 years, is all we'll burn through. And then our other ones are just wearable ones. They'll get cracks in them and stuff. And we just change them out because it's just cheaper to change that $1,400 belt out than wait for the $1,400 belt to break and then take sensors and lines out around it.
Yeah. And
then it turns into a $3,000 belt.
Yeah, and like lots of people, we'll throw that other old belt up on the shelf and label it there and say, yep, feeder house belt or whatever. And, we'll have it just as that spare, we'll have that up there. So you end up with we have 1 new ones and 4 old ones. Yeah, that kind of happens. They just go out. Since we're doing some thank yous, you guys have been really good to me, businesses and stuff. And I would feel really left out if I didn't thank a few people. I know you got people to thank because, like I said, we haven't done a podcast in a few months, and everything's changed on the farm here a little bit. And some of the guys that have come on, they're not sponsoring the podcast here yet. They've just kind of been working with me on my own TikTok and Facebook. But TerraClear, they did flow some fields for some drone activity for rocks. Thank you for them. Great West Auto and Assiniboia Bumper to Bumper. They've kept us going all season with filters and oils and whatever else we need from them. That's been pretty awesome. Trueline Manufacturing. We put the rock dams on all the combines and a couple of really cool looking rocket stoves. I got one put together today, and Tyler is going to get the other one. They made some pretty cool stuff for me. And they let me try out some stuff. They know I'm going to run more rocks. They knew I had a short crop. Reached out to me and said, hey, Dallas, we're going to mail these to you. Try them out. We don't need to promote them. We just want you to test out our stuff for us. I thought that was pretty awesome of them. Rates from this spring, I had the 112-foot roller. That was pretty awesome at Mandanko. Mandanko is a great company to work with. And not only are they a great company to work with, they legitimately make great product. So, and I had something really cool, something I never thought we'd ever have on this farm, and I somehow have to figure a way to keep it. Caltech brought me that fuel trailer. That has been just taking the miles off our old service truck, because when we were running the 3 combines and running them hard, our service truck doesn't have enough fuel for 3 combines. With that fuel trailer, I have enough fuel for 3 combines for 2 days. See, you just have to haul that to the field once every couple of days with fuel. That's been awesome to have. And I sound like a broken record here in a way. Barasas to help me keep them old New Hollands working. Thank you, guys. Combine World, also helping me keep them going. But the most important thank you I have is a split between the guys that work with us and my family. I can't do it without them people at all, or we can't. I say it's we. It's Dad and myself and my wife and my mom. We're all one operation here. And my brother took a week off of work. I had a hired man that had a funeral he had to go to, and it was on the other side of the country, so he was gone for a week. So my brother took time off work, come down, ran a combine. We wouldn't have got harvest done without him. My wife keeping us all fed and happy, and moved and picked us up and haul us over there and throw her schedule out the window when I want to move a combine or a sprayer across the farm. So big thank to hers and my guys, Tommy, Clay, and Lucas. Thank you guys. We can't do it without you. There's my big thank yous, because without all the people I listed in that group were nothing.
Yeah, I would like to thank my local dealers. I'd like to thank Mazer Group, Rocky Mountain Equipment, and A&E Chickawin for helping keep us going, as well as Combine World. They helped us out too. And I'd like to thank all my guys. I have a few too many guys to list their names, but I even had an uncle who hasn't been on the farm in probably over 40 years. He came home to give us a hand this year. He just recently retired. So thanks for coming and helping us out, Uncle Murr. Even though you only have one thumb and you spilt over 100 bushels of canola on the ground, I had to help you shovel it up on the hottest day. But again, thanks for coming out and helping us get the crop off.
How do you run a shovel when you're missing one thumb? Like, you got to hold that. I'm trying to picture myself holding a shovel. I wish we had the cameras on here.
He's just, it's a nub.
Oh, okay.
Like it'd be about the size of a stress ball in the, it would have been in the 80s. He was probably about 12 years old and they were feeding cows. And it was one of the old ground drive PTOs on I think it was an old Massey. I'd have to ask Dad again what tractor it was. And my uncle had the ground drive engaged. So when he was going forward and back, the PTO would change directions. And it was kind of a cold day and there was a lot of frost and he had moisture on his glove. Why the hell is that turning around? So he went and grabbed it and it ripped his thumb off.
Oh, it hurts to think about. But the PTO, if you
and unfortunately, it had to be on his right hand. What was that? Sorry.
If you want to change direction,
that's what I understand. If it was a ground driver, so I'd have to ask Dad again. We'll have to talk about it again on the next podcast. I'll have to ask Dad about it and get the full details on it.
And another, actually, we'll do a little name dropping here. When we get Ryan from Tractor Zoom on here, we got to ask him about that because he would also know. That man is a wealth of tractor knowledge that's, off the chart smart. So that's a little name dropper. He's on the list of greed guests. Actually, we got a big list of guests.
How many
are going to join us?
How many people do we have on the list, Alex? We'll let the people know that, but we won't say any more names. But how many people are on the list?
Oh, it's like 13 or 14. And some of them.
We're going to have a busy winter. We're going to try and get a bunch of episodes stockpiled up here for y'all, so we don't have a break in seeding. And then there's also going to be enough for next harvest because we want to try and have one out every second Sunday for you folks. We love making these. We're having so much fun. We're going to have a lot of guests back on that we've had before. Kale already said he'll come back on. Who else said? King Pilsner will come back. Travis will come back every episode if we'd let him.
He texted me 6 times since we started. I haven't talked to Matt James lately, but I'd love to redo another one with Matt. Matt was one of our very first ones we did. And, Tyler and I were just farmers and we're just learning as we go. And the audio in that episode did not turn out very good. And Matt and his brother, Andrew's his brother, right?
Yes.
Am I right on the name? Yep. We're going to get the two of them on.
Andrew.
Those are two young, smart farmers that farm incredibly cool area. I mean, they're in the Winnipeg city limits and they have farmland in there. So they had a good year.
They actually have a YouTube channel, James Brothers Farms, I believe is what it is. I could be wrong on that. But they do have a YouTube channel that they're uploading to regularly.
Yeah. Those are two young, smart guys that they had like sunflowers and row crop stuff, and really looking forward to getting them guys back. Well, and the kale, and we got a guy that grows a lot of potatoes. I won't say his name. I can't wait to have him. We got a vet lined up. Oh yeah, we got some good guys lined up, and gals. I haven't talked to Melanie lately. Her and her husband would be awesome to have on to see how their year went. I know her life has changed a lot with having that baby. I mean, that's just how life works sometimes. I'm hoping to get her back on. So, we got 13 new guests lined up, and basically I think we can have 13 old guests lined back up too.
Quite easily. So I got a question for you. On your grain cart, are you an auger in guy or an auger out guy?
I used to be when I was the grain cart operator. I kind of got demoted from that job. I used to fold it in and out all the time. And then as the years went on and just be super careful, our grain cart auger stays out all the time. I mean, it's an old school grain auger. So the auger is hanging out the left side and it's out all the time. It's out. It's built to be out. It's supported. It's a good brand cart. no issues at all. So I'm an auger out type of guy. You?
You see, that's a lot different from my family's operation. We've owned 3 different grain carts over the years, 2 of them being Degelmans. And this recent one is a Parker, which is basically a underberth, I believe. We've always been auger in. We've always had a lot of combines in the field, a minimum of 3 at a time, sometimes up to 6 or 7, with just neighbors coming and helping out. Then I got balers running around. Don't really have any power lines to go around, but sometimes if I get a bunch of combines that are full at the same time and they're right beside one another, the grain cart will stop and then the combines will go to him. So you got a combine in each side. Well, now you got an auger in the way. So we've always folded it in because we're just like, we can have a screw up fast enough. Let's just not add another potential screw up. That's
what
as simple as flipping a hydraulic lever.
But, and also, you guys, you're in swaths too. So, I mean, ours, when we're not in swaths, you can just angle your way across the cut crop. And you have 4 combines going. I mean, some guys are cutting into or picking up their own swath, and there isn't room sometimes, I guess. So we're, what's his name there? I follow him on TikTok, down in the States. Oh, it'll come to me. Case Equipment. They run their combine augers the augers in the combine never go back in. They pull into a field of corn or soybeans, the augers go out, the cart augers out, and their augers never go back in till they're done the day.
And that's one thing I never understood on a combine, why you leave your auger out. I hadn't seen it for years. I used to have an old neighbor that lived near me that used to do it all the time, and he's since moved on. But I was coming home from Brandon here just this past weekend from a family Thanksgiving, and I went by the research farm between Verdon and Brandon, and there was an old 860 Massey out there with the auger out. And about a half mile up the road, what was the model of them John Deere combines that had the offset cab with the yellow roof? It had its auger out.
8820, 7720s.
It would have been something like that. It was too far from the highway to see the model number, but I knew it had the offset cab with the yellow roof cap. I could see that much anyway.
I went and grabbed my phone. On TikTok, this guy's cool. He's fun. Someday I'm looking forward to talking to him. Hell, maybe we'll have another American on the podcast here. Aaron Spencer, 545. If you're on TikTok, he's one cool guy to follow. I enjoy his stuff, and so he's the auger out. Everything goes in the field. Every auger goes out. So he is, and he had we had a whole video series about that, which is, so that's pretty cool. So if you want to follow somebody new on TikTok, Aaron Spencer, 545. Here I am plugging other people's TikTok channel. Everyone knows Dallas. Shameless plug for myself.
And if you can find Dallas on TikTok, check out his new logo.
And Facebook.
Dallas is also on Facebook.
And I'm just Dallas Leduc on Facebook. And then now that Facebook has changed the reels and it's no longer 90-second reels, now I can load up to, I don't know how long, 10 minutes probably, reel. So I'm doing a lot of my videos, I'm doing on both platforms, Facebook and TikTok. Because when you got great sponsors that want to work with you, I got to promote them on everything because, and I won't promote something that doesn't work. I mean, I've had lots of stuff sent to me and brought to me, and good people have brought it to me. It didn't work. And I'm not going to make a bashing video. I'm going to thank them for what they have. I'm not going to make a bashing video. I'm not going to make a bad video, but I'm not going to promote because it's, but if you make it work, bring it back to me. I'll run it again.
So what have you been up to these past few days? I haven't been talking to you much lately like I normally do. I've been busy myself, and you haven't been phoning me. So obviously you've been busy. Now that you're done harvest, what have you been up to?
There's Thanksgiving, so we got that done. And unfortunately, I had a couple of funerals to go to on the weekend, so that was not fun. So I had to do that. Sunday, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to lay on the couch. And, the ground was white with snow, and it was nice and wet, and I didn't want to do anything. So I'm just happy we're done harvest. And well, actually, the last few days, I've been working on I took a 5-horsepower aeration fan off of a bin. I made a mount to go to our skid steer, plug into a receiver hitch. I choked down the discharge into the fan down to about I'll call it 4x6 hole on a 5-horsepower fan. And I'm going to hopefully set that up and blow some combines off, because that really moves a lot of air when you're using a 5 horsepower fan. So I got that ready. Tommy, my main guy, he was out deer hunting, so we had to do a little retrieval program yesterday. So he got his trail camera buck, which is a cool buck.
So would have that been archery? It's archery season right now, isn't it?
No, muzzleloader.
Muzzleloader, okay. Yeah, well, doesn't muzzleloader follow archery as well?
Yep, yeah, it goes archery first and then muzzleloader. I think there's a little break maybe in there, maybe not. And then mule deer and then whitetail. It's a whitetail. It's a nice 6x7 non-typical whitetail. And he calls me up yesterday. I was actually coming back from that funeral. And he's like, I know where he is. I'm kind of posted there. And I said, and he told me, if you walk up from the south, he should just run right towards me. And he's like, what's taking you so long? I said, well, I'm just leaving this funeral and I got to go home and get my muzzleloader. And he's like, what? So you're telling me, like, I can only push the deer to you? I don't get to carry my muzzleloader? Like, I have a muzzleloader and a tag. I am also going to be. And then before I got everything ready, I was heading down south. He calls me. The deer got up on his own. He got him. I'm like, damn it. Because I've seen pictures of this deer. I would have took him. He's like, you're not going to shoot my deer if he's standing there at 25 yards looking at me? Yes, I am.
I used to do a bit of hunting myself, but unfortunately my guts won't allow me to eat wild game, and my wife won't touch it. I don't believe in trophy hunting, so I just leave the hunting to guys that can eat the meat and use it. Other than that, I don't got a problem with hunting. If you have the courage to come to me and ask for permission to hunt on my land, I'm just going to tell you, give her. You wouldn't believe the amount of American bird hunters we have come up in our little area every year. I bet you I've shook 30 hands here in the past month of just guys coming, asking for permission, or guys that have been here for years and years coming back like, hey, is it okay if we go again? Yeah, give her.
Yep. And that permission, that's the big thing. You know, our home quarter here, it's got 4, 5 half-mile long tree rows. And there's always birds in them tree rows. And, you know, a lot of guys have stopped by and asked permission. It's usually maybe the outside 2, but not the inside ones. You can walk them. But the problem is the people that give them the shitty name is the guys that don't ask permission. You show up to the house, you knock on the door, you come in with your map and where you want to hunt, and you shake my hand and you're nice and respectful. God damn it, I'd like to go hunting with you. You know, best of luck. But if you show up here and start walking the tree rows or hunting on our land without permission, I'm sorry, sir, but you can't hunt here. You know, and all it takes is you don't show me the respect, or our family the respect it deserves for being the landowners, you're out of here. But if you show up, shake hands, you know, the please and thank yous, you know, the respect I think the landowner deserves. Go hard, buddy. Like, you know, the only thing I want back is a picture of you with a big bird or something like that. You know, that's all I need, you know. Best of luck and see you next year. And that's the big thing, is you got to show that respect. You show it to me, you're getting it back. You don't show me respect, get off.
No, absolutely. We're very much the same way, and we don't really have a problem here. Anybody that comes out of the south, they always stop in and ask, and normally we end up having a conversation for 2 hours plus. So it's really fun to talk with them and just ask them how their year went and stuff. Like our regular guys that come back every year. I actually have some guys that live in Regina, and they don't do bird hunting. They just do deer hunting, moose, or whatever they can get drawn for. They've been hunting and camping on our land for over 20 years. We've had over a 20-year relationship. And how it got started, Dad was talking to one of the guys of the group, buying cat parts out of one of the Caterpillar dealerships in Regina.
It's just amazing how things can snowball that way. And now it's a 20-year relationship with them coming to hunt. And, you know, and in the year they miss, it's kind of like, oh, damn, I didn't get to see old Pete this year, huh? You know, or things change. But
yeah, well, they got drawn for moose one time, and they were striking out, and a big snowstorm came in. So they got drunk that night, just absolutely drunk. We didn't party with them that night. Anyways, Dad goes over in the morning, bangs on the camper door. They're like, what do you want? We're hungover. And he's like, did you get your moose yet? No, we're going back to the city. He says, get in the goddamn truck. What do you mean? He said, we're going to go get you a moose. So Dad goes out, and we kind of know where the moose hang out in this area. Dad takes him out and says, I know there's a moose in this pasture. This is my pasture. And I don't know why, but he took a 2-wheel drive farm truck that time. So he's basically pushing snow with the bumper. And these hunters, they're sitting in the front and back seat, just about ready to hurl, because anybody knows what it's like driving in a truck that's power hopping through the snow. Well, that's what's going on. Dad gets on the radio, Tyler, we're going to get a moose. You might have to come get us. We might get stuck. So Dad pulls up, and not even 300 yards off the front bumper of the truck, Dad looks at him and says, there's your moose. Oh my God, he says, that's the one I've been wanting to get. Bang, got his moose. They couldn't believe it. 15 minutes later, their eyes were there with the tractor. We lifted them up. They gutted them and skinned them. We loaded it in the back of their truck. They were gone to the meat packer.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it. They talk about that story all the time.
And the truck rides way better once a moose is in the back, too. Goes through more snow, rides better. I just realized I forgot to thank our local McCord Fuel Company, McCord Co-op. Without all that good Gojo juice, we'd be in trouble. So I left out the co-op because that's our fuel provider. And then we went to direct drop-offs this year. And, I hate to take the dollars out of their hands. So they do get a percentage of that. But the direct drop-off on fuel savings is massive, like 13 to 17 cents a liter on our fuel is off the charts.
Well, at some point, you got to look out for number one, right?
Yeah. And they do say that the co-op does get a penny or two a liter from Federated for just making the sale, and they never have to touch nothing. So it's a big savings for us to be able to do that direct drop off on, a couple 100,000 liters a year that we burn. 17, 15, 10 cents a liter. That's 20 to 30 grand a year just by changing how the fuel's being delivered. I do that, and I can maybe afford to upgrade a combine after a year or two. So enough about me there, Tyler. I know you've been pulling some wrenches on doing some maintenance on some tractors there. You want to tell the world about a couple of these tractors and what you've been doing with them?
Yeah, so we were just out doing some fence today, and I had one of the hired guys come on the radio and say, yeah, I got a coolant leak on this tractor. The buzzer's going off, so whatever, go over, check it out. Oh, maybe you just blew a little hose. We can fix it. I go over, and it's lost all its coolant, and I'm in the middle of building fence, so whatever. Get in the truck. We'll go back to the yard. We'll drag another one out of the shed, and you can just run that one. So get him switched out, go to finish my day fencing. Dad and I go over, pour some water in the tractor, get it home, figure out where the leak's coming from. Well, the water pump's leaking on it. And normally a person would be angry about the water pump going on their tractor. This one, I could give two shits at the water pump went. Not that I'm mad about it. Not mad at it at all. I love this tractor, actually. Everybody loves this tractor. This tractor's probably got about 30,000 hours on it. That's the original water pump. That water pump when that water pump was taken off that tractor, or wasn't on that tractor, it was new in a box. And that tractor was new in a box. So that's pretty impressive. If a guy knew how many times that water pump had spun around,
I can
just
afford to
think
buy
of
new
that.
combines. If we got $1 for every hour. But that, another thing, that's 37,000 hours. Yep, water pump goes out, it's due. Last year, I think we changed 2 of the 3 water pumps on our combines in 2024. At like 3,500 hours, they went out. They shouldn't go out at 30. They should go out at 35,000 hours, not 3,500. Isn't that
I
old
guarantee
stuff?
you the water pump that I put back on that tractor here when the new one shows up next week, it won't last that long. I'll be surprised if it makes a couple thousand hours. And it's unfortunate our stuff isn't made like it used to be. Those tractors are a prime example of its stuff ain't built like it used to be. Like we got that 2094 that's got over 40,000 hours on it. We got this 2394 that has worked hard its whole life. It used to run a drill. It used to run a 30-foot cultivator. It's ran a baler all its life. Like it's worked hard. And it just shows you take care of something and it's built well, it will last.
Well, they were telling me too, some of the fence you guys are redoing, like that fence wasn't built last year. It wasn't built 10 years ago. It was built a century ago. Like you're talking like a 100-year-old fence.
It's probably more than that. So this fence I'm taking out is on a section of land that myself, my cousin, and my brother bought. It's pasture ground, and the fence around it has T-posts in it. And we used to rent this land for years, and fortunately we're given the option to buy it here very recently. So we bought it. And the fence, the posts are okay on it, but the wire's getting bad on it. So it was time for it to be replaced. But the interesting thing about this fence is it was put in World War II by prisoners of the war. There actually used to be a war camp on this section we own. Unfortunately, there's no remnants of that left anymore. The only thing that's left is the fence. So it's kind of neat to think that this 4 miles of fence that we're working on replacing was put in by prisoners of the war.
80 years ago.
Exactly.
Well, the war ended in 45?
Yep.
That's a long
So
ass time ago.
some people maybe argue, well, you should leave that in because it's history. And at the end of the day, it's just a 4-strand barbed wire fence.
Well, and sometimes you have to completely tear things right out. They get overgrown with bush, and then it's hard to maintain. You got to tear it out, cut it out, put it back in. Yep.
When this fence was put in 80 years ago, there was not a tree on this whole section. It is solid bush now. Like, it is straight cattle ground. Well, trees also will grow through a fence. So to rebuild this fence properly, you got to take it all out, strip all the wire out, pull all the posts, get in there with a cat, scrub it off, get in there with a batwing mower, mow it down nice and smooth, level it out. Well, by the time you've gone to all that work, pulling out those 80-year-old posts, put them back in, I'm going to have to replace those posts at some time in my lifetime. If I put new wood in, I don't got to worry about it. So
yeah, that's just how things work. Sometimes you have to do the extra little bit to get it done 100% right.
And the interesting thing is, did you know most quarters aren't square by your GPS on your tractor? Like, you'll drop an AB line and you can go 0 degrees and your quarter line won't match up.
No, yeah, we're not measured.
One, we measured off the survey pins, and this section's not very far off a correction line. If you drop an AB line at 0 degrees, it is bang on.
Really? Yeah, we're out by like 2 degrees all the time on straight north
and
south.
you get away from some of ours in our area, and you can be up to 6 degrees. But being that this one's like, it touches a correction line almost, it's a half mile off a correction line. It is bang on. I could not believe it. We were fighting with the GPS because we're putting fence and we want to stay on the edge of the property line. We're fighting. We'll go the half mile and we'll drop an A point and then we'll drive to the other end, put a B in, and then we'll run it back. It's not lining up. And I got mad. I said, screw it. Got lined up perfectly at the one end with the survey marker. Just put an AB, 0 degrees, enter, drove, went right to the other end, bang, right on. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I know where we're putting the stakes in now.
Yeah.
So
I think the John Deere GPS is a little more accurate, on going on true north versus, I don't know. There's somebody to explain that to me, and somebody's going to correct me on this, between true north and magnetic north, and yeah.
So I was looking that up yesterday because I wanted to figure that out. In the Regina area, according to ChatGPT, Regina area, magnetic north is 6.53 degrees off true north.
Okay. ChatGPT never lies to us. And actually makes some pretty cool.
The internet never lies, folks.
Because we actually use ChatGPT to make the Bunny Hug Farmers decal that Tyler and I are.
We're wearing it right now. We're showing it to each other. You folks can't see it, but we're both wearing our uniforms. We're both wearing our Bunny Hug Farmers merch. And if you guys want some merch, reach out to Dallas. He's the one looking after the merch. If you want some, they're very fair prices. Of course, there's going to be shipping and handling included. Might be a little bit of delay in it right now with just what's going on with Canada Post. But if you want something or have a family member that would like some for the holidays, feel free to reach out to Dallas on his TikTok or Facebook.
We're going to do a big order here before Christmas. And actually, I went through Little Town Apparel, good Saskatchewan company. And man, are these the most super soft, extra comfortable T-shirts ever made, though?
Well, that's
what everybody says.
Why some of that stuff online, and it just feels like garbage. And no, this is like a tee that you buy at Mark's. Like, it's comfortable. It's good quality. Like,
Yeah.
It's just kind of a decal they put on the shirt. That might fade over time, but the shirt's going to last for years.
Yeah, well, and so soft and so comfortable, and then the bunny hugs are the same way. They fit on the big side. So if you're even me, I'm a 2XL. My 2XL is too big for me. I have to go back to just an XL in their bunny hugs. Everything's a little bit, but it's so comfy. I can't wait to wear it more because I'm getting kind of like the Welkers. I find in a lot of my videos, I want to be wearing my own merchandise in my own videos, but at the same time, some of my people that I work with in the farm, I'll gladly wear their merchandise too when I'm out there doing videos and working.
And we also use ChatGPT to make your logo that you use on your Facebook for your profile picture.
How did you I have my little dude there, looks roughly like me. How did you get the Bunny Hug Farmers decal on that guy?
So how I started is I started saying, I want to make a image. This is what I want it to say, and I want the person leaning against the letters. So they just made a random person. Okay. So I went onto your TikTok, watched one of your videos, and when there was a good shot of your face, I screenshotted that and said, okay, make this person look like this person in the video. And it asked me, do you want it to be realistic or cartoonish? Okay, make it cartoonish. Got there was a lot more back and forth than that, but this is the simple down version. Kind of got the picture to where I wanted it. Okay, now I want the Bunny Hug Farmers logo on their shirt. It says, okay, well, show me what the logo looks like. So I uploaded a picture of our logo. Boom, done.
That's awesome.
Danita gave it the okay.
Yeah, the Chief Cook and Bottle Washer gave it the okay. You know, I had one guy say, well, the goatee's not long enough on that. Well, I said, it's not always going to be this freaking long. This is my harvest goatee. It's about 6 inches long now.
The facial hair is the hardest part about it to get it right. Like I'll say, just like you call it a goatee and it'll be like a Santa Claus beard. Then you say, give it just a chin beard is generally what you got to call it. And then it'll get it close.
No, it looks good. I might do some merch with that too. I don't know. I've been asked in the past. In Little Town Apparel, I'll just go to them first because I know they'll do a good job at it. So that's kind of what I want to do. So what else have you been doing? Got that fence picked up, or are you still working at that?
We're still working on it. I got another 1/8 of a mile to go on the stretch I'm doing now. I should get the post in there tomorrow. I'm hoping, and maybe a bit of wire stretched. I got another 1/2 mile I'd like to do this year, but the neighbor's got cattle on his side of the fence, so got to wait for his cows to be off, and then we'll hopefully be able to do that 1/2 mile. And there's a few little spots where there's some sloughs. We're a little on the drier side right now, which works good for putting new fence in sloughs. I got some heavy steel posts with chain eyelets welded on them that I'm going to put in, and steel doesn't seem to rot in water the same as wood, but see, I know it's a lot heavier.
Is that them like 1.25 inch ones with the chain eyelets on? A bit of neighbor down south do that, and I was eyeing up his fence, and it's like, that is well built.
Yeah, so all we're doing is we're using a 3-inch drill pipe that they use on the oil rig. And then we just bought general, like 3/8 or not 3/8, 5/16 chain. Just torched the middle link out and then just welded a full link on. So then we'll just go a smooth 12 gauge wire and just wire it to the post.
Oh, okay. The ones I seen down south, they're about 1.25 inch, like sucker rod. And then they have the chain links, but they're all cut with a slit and just pried open. And it looks like they just drop the wire in the 4 spots and they just twist the post to kind of lock them in place.
See, we thought about doing that, but with that small rod, it's easy to do. But with the big pipe, you got to pound it in with a pounder. Well, you got to make sure your pipe stays clocked the right way, where the link is pointing towards the wire. So the way we do it is, if it doesn't line up, you just wrap the smooth wire all the way around the post, and you can still hold it and your wire won't slip down. So that way that he did it works great if you use small stuff. If you're using big stuff, unless you're going to volunteer to come swing the sledgehammer to Dallas, I'm going to do it my way. And that's another thing, back to that fence that was put in by the prisoners of the war. I'm doing with a post pounder, and it's taking me some time. That was all put in on the end of a sledgehammer. And the corner braces, they cemented the corner braces in. So could you imagine the time it took probably 30 to 80 men to do that?
That's a lot of work. And I wonder
And
what.
it's fence is straight as an arrow. Like a lot of fences you see guys put in the day, they get a little wave in them. No, this one is straight, which you can't, with the parts you can see that aren't grown in by trees, straight as an arrow.
I wonder, can you do any research to see where some of them prisoners of wars come from? Like, did you have like German prisoners of war or Russian prisoner or Japanese like that? I wonder. I
I
wonder.
would presume it would have been Germans because there is a bit of German people or people from Germany in the area, like not in our area specifically, but not far away. So I'd presume it was German. I'll have to do some research into it, and maybe we can revisit this another day. But
Yeah, I'm sure they'll. Hopefully,
I'll
a
have to look into
historian
some
will correct
history
us
books
on
and
this.
see if I can find something.
That, that's the Smith in the corner braces 75, 80 years ago. That's just extra cool. Like that's.
And
I
they
guess
don't
they
look
were
like a
making.
corner brace that we build today. Like it's just a T-post that's sunk in the ground with two angle braces that just go down to the ground and then in. Like it's not
Okay.
like the corner braces we build today with two posts and then you got your rail on the top. And they went a full half mile before putting a brace in. You couldn't do that with today's barbed wire. So Dallas, this is kind of a question that's way off topic. And this is just going back into your TikToks back in the summer, kind of back going into the topic of the drought you're going through. You were having some well issues. Did those ever resolve themselves, or do you need to come up with a game plan? Do you need me to bring my father-in-law out and we need to witch you a new well?
Well, we got the new well. I mean, years ago, well, not that many years ago, 10, 12 years ago or so, we dug a well at the north end of the yard that's trenched to the cattle, to the barn, to the pump house, and then to the shop, which I don't know why when we trenched to the shop, we went 300 feet away from the house, went to the shop. So the house well is just on its own, and that well is from 83. It's an old galvanized cribbing. And I'm sure the holes are rusted off in that well, and it's basically doesn't produce any more water. So I don't show it every time I do it. It's every 2 weeks. We set up all the garden hoses and you throw them in the well for a day. And you just fill the well back up with garden hose water from the shop. So I need to get a backhoe out here and get some trenching and tie into the pump house and eliminate the house well and just go directly off the north well. So I need to get that done because right now it's easy in the spring and fall and summer to throw some garden hoses together and fill a well. But no, I'm going to have to do some trenching. So if you want to show up with a backhoe, bring your father-in-law, but make sure you also bring your backhoe.
I got a backhoe, but I can find one.
You're
not going to do the typical farmer thing and just find the closest line and tee in and then go to the house?
Well, we're going to go to the pump house, which is only 300 and some feet away, and then we can set up a manifold. The manifold's already there. It's actually got a spot in the manifold. We can tee off of it and go to the house. I just got to dig it all in.
That's smart, because a lot of other farmers' houses I've been to, including our farm, the water will come from the pump house, go to the oldest house in the yard, go out to the water bowls, then go into the shop, then feed back, and go here and go there. Or it'll come out of the oldest house, it'll go through the next newer house, then that one will go out to the main yard and through here. That's how it is here. The water on this farm, it comes from the pump house, it goes into my uncle's house, it goes through a manifold in his house, then it comes out, goes to a tee in my front lawn, and that tee feeds my house, and then it goes out and feeds the old shop. It goes and feeds the tanks for spraying, and then it loops all the way back around and comes within 300 feet of my house again and feeds the new shop. Over at Dad's house, it comes out of the pump house, goes and feeds barn, all the watering bowls on the one side of the yard. But it's just what you did, right? When you had no money, you just made it work, right? And that's one thing that farmers are awesome at. Times are tough right now. I need to do this. I'm just going to make it work. I'll fix it another day. Guess what? Sometimes it just doesn't get fixed. It works. It's kind of the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. If it's working, leave it alone.
Well, and then probably back in the day when your old shop was built, whoever built that, your uncle, your grandpa, your dad, or whatever, thinking, oh, this will be all the shop we'll ever need here. And then a couple of decades later, it's like, well, that shop's not big enough for nothing. Let's build a new shop.
That's exactly what they said. They built the old shop in 1984, and all the neighbors came around and looked at it. This shop is massive. You're never going to need anything bigger than this. Well, guess what? Combines got bigger than an L2 gleaner. Like, our current combines we have now have a 14-foot pickup header on them, and that won't even fit through the door. So our new shop, it's big enough for the size of our farm now. It's more than big enough. There's a guy not very far away from me. He owns a feedlot, farms a pile of grain acres. My new shop, which is not my shop, it's my family shop. It is an 80 by 168. It'll fit inside his shop 2 times over. Hopefully I don't got to replace this shop, but I'm very grateful to have it.
Yeah, that's what we need to get, some more cold storage. We can turn what we have as cold storage into heated shop, but it still won't be 80 by 150. It's 54 by, I think, 132, which will be, but that's the problem with missing these crops. I mean, and just keeping our head above water. Yeah, we can keep floating, but we're not going full forward. We're not upgrading machinery, and we're not freaking doing the shop the way I want. But I guess that's what they say. It's next year country. So we'll grin and bear it and get the next year, and hopefully things get looking better.
And that's one thing that we got to be really resilient on. We just got to keep telling ourselves it's a next year problem, or there's always next year. And that's why there's so many problems sometimes with mental health in Saskatchewan. And there's something out there for it. It's called the Farm Stress Line. Their number is 1-800-667-4442. There's no charge for using their services. And if you qualify, you can get up to 6 hours of free counseling.
It's a stereotype that us farmers have battled for years, that we don't need help. Big, tough farmers and ranchers, we don't need help. And then, if somebody had any mental issues, you just look down on them. Times have changed. We all need help. Not all need help, but I mean, you can't look down at somebody for wanting to try to pull themselves out of these holes. You have to know that if you go out looking for help, you're going to find it. Especially in Saskatchewan here, we have umpteen services that are all set up to help you get, right from the Farm Stress Line to the Children's Health Phone to Al-Anon to Alcoholics Anonymous to all these stuff. That if you're looking for help, it's out there. You can, without any money any money at all, phone the numbers. It's 1-800, Google them, and then you can talk to somebody, an expert, to help you get through some of these issues. Because right now, the cattlemen they've been down in the dumps for years. Now the things are looking up for them. God, I hope it can be a good calf crop for them. But right now, the grain producers, especially guys in my part of the world, that we missed the crop and there is no price. There are some guys that are going to have a hard time making it through this. I can't help out financially, but I can help out by saying, if you need to talk to somebody, call these numbers. Call that Farm Stress Line, 1-800-667-4442. There's going to be somebody there to help you talk this through, because you know what? You're not alone. I'm not alone. There's people that are all having a tough time with this right now. If you need to talk to somebody, say what's on your mind, get things off your chest, because it's stressful and it's not any fun. But even worse is when you don't deal with some of these issues.
You can just bottle and bottle and bottle them up until you explode. Please don't do that. It is not good for you. It is not good for your family. It is not good for anybody. We beg you, if you need help, go get help. You'll be glad you did. I actually I actually had somebody reach out to me back in the early summer saying just us talking about this on this podcast gave them the courage to go and ask for help when they needed it. It was awesome to get that message. So if I know we've helped one person, I know we've helped more than that. And I'm not doing this for my own coup.
No, it's just a factor of life that, everything in life is stressful. Things have changed so much in agriculture in the last, agriculture never stops developing. And it's stressful, and the only thing we can't control is the weather. And obviously sometimes the politicians that screw up the prices, but that's a different story. But all that stuff just adds to our stress level of how sometimes awful. I mean, this is a wonderful career we're in, but sometimes it's the most awful thing in the world to deal with is the stresses of farming. But all you have to know is you're not alone. You can talk to professionals. They'll help you get through this because we all want to get through this. So, Tyler, with that big crop you guys had, did you bag anything or everything went to the elevator or you have enough bin storage for everything?
Fortunately, I do not have enough bin storage. We are probably close to over 100,000 bushels short on storage on our farm. We don't have a bagger. We don't really believe in bags. We've seen too many horror stories happen and have heard many more the problems that can happen with bags. So we have done piles on the ground in the past, and we do have one Quonset with a cement floor that we have filled with grain. But generally what we'll do is we have an elevator like 4 miles away from the main yard. So we'll contract roughly 80,000 to 60,000 bushels of grain, whether it's barley, wheat, or canola, to the elevator because we got to make room for it. And generally our grain buyer there is pretty good to us. We get a pretty fair price. Yes, prices is lower at harvest time, but when you look at it, if you go put it in a pile or in a bag, you got all that time of going and cleaning it up. And people say in farming, your time's nothing. Well, no, your time is valuable. That's time away from your loved ones. That's time away from something else you could be improving on your farm. So we just look at it that way. We got a lot going on here on this farm. Like we have cattle, we clean grain, and we're farming a decent amount of grain acres. So we've always got something going on. And we do probably about 99% of our own maintenance and repairs to all our equipment. And generally anything that needs built that can't be bought, we build. We're skilled that way too. So we always got a lot going on. So we'll take that extra, even if it's $1 less, we'll take that because one, it gets it gone and you don't got to cool it. You don't got to run a fan. You don't got to worry about it spoiling on you. Once you dump it in that pit and you get your elevator or seat, it's not your headache anymore.
Yeah, and cash is king. And that's fall. You know, all of a sudden you can pay down some of your input bills, pay off the fuel bill, get the men all paid up.
Cash well, that's just king. It puts that year-end cash in the bank account. So now you got the cash because we pre-buy a lot of our fertilizer and stuff. Well, end of October into the beginning of November, you got to start paying for that stuff. And that's a lot of dollars. Like you're talking millions of dollars. So it doesn't hurt to dump that grain and then you're not relying on your operating note.
Yeah. See, I think I jinxed ourselves. About 3 years ago, I bought a bagger at an auction sale. I thought we had a big winter wheat crop coming and the bagger hadn't done many bushels. It was in really good shape. It wasn't far away. I bought a bagger. I bought 6 bags. We've never used it since. So I have a 9-foot bagger for sale in 6 bags. If somebody wants to buy one,
I might have $5 on me.
That 9-foot bags are a little bit smaller, but I don't think they're worth more than $5. I just hope they're still, I would think always being stored indoors. I hope they hold out. You know, they're in a sea can, so I think they'll be fine.
There's no bags. That scares me with bags is my neighbors had it happen. They had one out in the winter and a snowmobiler went right up the middle of one. And it split open like a banana. And here they had some this year and nothing touched it. And it sat there for a week. You know, one day it just ripped wide open.
I don't know how they do that because I got the old family chat fired up here, and my brother-in-law they had good crops up there northwest of Swift Current. 300-foot bag with Durham. She's wide open from one end to the other. They just pop and split. So
see, and that's the thing that really turns my family farm off on bags. Is you put it in a bag, but if it splits open, what do? You got to do the cleanup then. That you would have had to do regardless if you put it in a pile, but are you going to clean it up out of that bag and then go put it in another bag and hope that one doesn't split?
No, you're going to take it to the elevator and get $1 less a bushel like you should have done the first time.
I actually got a Snapchat from Kale today because a lot of the people that Dallas and I associate ourselves with in the podcast, we've actually become pretty decent friends with a lot of them. A lot of the people here that are closer to my age, I talk to them almost daily. Kale being one of them. And one of his neighbors has a bunch of grain bags out there, and they went with square bales and stacked the square bales 6 high around the grain bags to keep the deer off of them. And I said, well, what about the birds? And he says, I don't know, but at least the deer aren't getting it.
Well, another one that I follow here, thinking about these bags and birds. Do you follow that Arm River Agro on TikTok?
Yeah, well,
Eddie
he's the
was
guy
out
you
to the
had
moon.
over doing
He
tracks, right?
looked at the tracks there. It's a shameless plug that's nothing in it for me, but just to say, first of all, Eddie's a cool guy. Follow him. I think it's Arc Farms, Arm River Agro. But they sell bags there. And he goes on and on about how tough their bags are. Well, he walked up to one of their bags in one of his videos, and he just poked and poked and poked and poked. And he was sinking his finger in basically up to the freaking knuckle, and he wasn't poking through that bag. So I guess if you're looking for bags, I guess, I was going to make fun of my brother-in-law and say, I guess he didn't buy an Arm River Agro bag because their bags don't split. So, Eddie, if you're listening to this, there's your shameless plug there. But we're getting near the end of our time here, folks. And just to say, I'm excited to be back. I can't wait to make more content with you guys. Looking forward to talking to some of our guests and see how their years went, because you've heard that Tyler and I are both ends of the spectrum. He had one of the best crops ever with a shitty price, and I had one of the shittiest crops ever with a shitty price. But I'm looking forward to talking to some of our guests and see how their years went. So we're going to make another one up here right away and try to get back in the queue and keep getting loaded up and keep having a good time, because this is, I must admit, some of the highlight of my year is making these podcasts and making my videos. Because sometimes when this farming's at a low point, you need to have something in your life to take you to a high point. And I really find being a bunny hug farmer has really raised up my fun level has definitely increased since we started this podcast there, Tyler.
Yeah, no, mine too. It gives me a lot more to do than just sit at my chair and just scroll TikTok. I actually get to sit and talk and have good conversations with really good people. And I've got to know so many great people. Like, you and I have become great friends over this. And when we started this, we were two strangers. I was just a guy through a friend of mine who's also a friend of yours that just wanted to come on an episode of a podcast. And then I ended up being part of the podcast, ended up being one of the creators. And it's just snowballed into something so fun.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. I listen to a lot of good podcasts out of the States, like that Farm for Profit. They're really good. Rob Sharkey's good. The Millennial Farmer, when him and the Master Pipe Layer did their Off the Husk podcast, that was one of the best ones out there. So I really enjoy those guys' podcasts. They did a great job at it. But that is so much different, that agriculture where they're at, than what we have here in Western Canada and even the northern states, North Dakota, Montana, and Western Canada is so much different than the southern states and how we're set up and how our farms are all different. So that's why when we started this podcast, I didn't think I was going to learn as much about other people's agriculture that I have. And that's what excites me the most, is to learn how different operations are set up. Like, I didn't know that Melanie, that female farmer, that they load their air drill with a grain cart. They load it in like 2 minutes. I didn't know that. Things like that have just been awesome to learn. And I can't wait to talk to our next 13 to 20 some guests we're going to have on here in the next year and just keep her rolling.
Yeah. You might have to learn how to do some editing, Dallas, because it sounds like I got a lot of work ahead of me.
I'm looking for a sponsor and getting the guests lined up. So that was our deal.
No, it's been great, Dallas. I really appreciate doing these with you. Having a lot of fun. Like I said, made a lot of great friends doing this. Talked to a lot of great people. This is a lot of fun. We do have a special episode coming up soon. We're going to eventually start doing it where you can actually see us. We're going to start a YouTube channel here soon. All the episodes that we've done so far will be on there, but it'll just be our logo. But we got one lined up with a special guest that it's going to be the three of us, and you'll get to see us here talk in our houses. Alice and I will be in ours. Our guest will be in theirs. And then when you find that guest...
Is that the guy that's going the bung bung?
We won't say any more than that.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But if we can find some equipment to do in-person podcasts, that person is also going to be the first person to do an in-person podcast with the three of us sitting together.
Yeah, that's the guy that's going the bung bung. But that's one thing. Like, we are looking for a sponsor. Maybe somebody off that list of people I've mentioned before or whatever. I don't want to do it for the money, but I would like this just to be able to make a better product. I don't want the the money in my hand. That's not what I'm doing this for. I just want to make a better product, better cameras, better mics, to make our guests be at the best level they can be at, just to make a better product for all of you guys. I'm not looking for money. I don't do this for the money. I do it for the love of agriculture. So that's all I want my sponsor to do it for too, is help us out to make a better product. Well, okay. So and we're getting up here in time. We're over an hour and 20 minutes, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Tyler and I are just getting back at it. Heck, we forgot how to do half the stuff we're doing, but we're learning again here. Like everything in agriculture, you're learning something new every day. So I thank everybody for listening and telling your friends and maybe buying some merch and then helping us promote this agriculture, podcast called the Bunny Hug Farmers, because we have had so much fun, and I can't wait to have more fun with all of you guys and my special main host here, Tyler Janin.
Thanks, everybody.